mom's favorite is if you don't like it, change it.
There you
She
go.
says
That's
it
a
all
great
the
one.
time, and I've heard that so many times this week too.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good
Um,
one, actually. My mom always used to say, as we were choosing careers, do what you love, and you'll never feel like you're working.
That's the truth.
I do care a lot about what I do, but I still feel like I'm working.
We're not on a beach, right?
Hey, are you either of you guys going to um the gala well um I forgot to talk. I'm drawing a blank on the name. The it's the Dream Factory Gala next
Oh,
weekend.
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Are some Rotarians going to that?
No, I'm emceeing. So
Oh,
I say I
nice.
would see you there.
Oh, wow. Look at you. That's fabulous.
All right, looks like we're getting started here. I'll mute everybody. Good to talk to you guys. I thought
Yeah,
there'd be
you
more of
all
us
as
on here
well.
today.
Yeah, I'm so happy to get to chat with you guys. Thank you.
We're
Yeah,
having a good
good luck
time
with the
now.
water.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to the Rotary meeting for this week. And my name's Dean Hammond, if you don't already know that. Those of you that were at the past president's dinner the other night, yes, this is my same jacket, but I have other clothes on besides that. Someone actually came and asked me about that today. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we're able to be together on a fine day like it is. To get this started, let's do the flag and the four-way test and the inspiration with Phil Gray. Afternoon. Pledge allegiance first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Four-way test. Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned. May have a seat. All right. 2 days from today, Saturday, June 6th, is the 82nd anniversary of D-Day. You've heard me speak about it several times. Few numbers worth remembering about World War II. World War II was the deadliest military conflict in human history. Somewhere between 70 and 85 million people died in World War II. 407,000 American military died. That's more than the total population of Lexington. And 671,000 Americans were wounded. Let's remember what the true cost and the true value of freedom is. This is the last paragraph of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, November 19th, 1863. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have thus far so nobly carried on. It is rather for us to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that this government of the people, for the people, and by the people, shall not perish from the earth. Those are inspiring words. We came out of a civil war and came back together again and built the country that's here today, still going strong. So it's a wonderful thing. If Rod Hartzler would come up and do our introduction of guests. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to introduce three guests today. If you would, please stand or remain standing until a completed introduction. We'll recognize you. Leah Anderson brought Lucy Hendricks. Chrisley Wildrum brought Jennifer Huckel, I'm sorry. And Susie Bastion brought Danielle Bozon. Welcome to all of them.
Thank you, Rod. And thanks for being here with us today. Hope you can come again soon. Celebrating the birthdays this week, Jennifer Ames, Merle Hackbart, and Graham Priest. So happy birthday to you guys. Don't forget to give the birthday fund for the charitable fund. And now let's do the gambling part of the meeting. And I'd like to bring Bruce Daly up, who's doing a doubleheader here. All right. I get to name it here. 0270.
We got $1,560.
$1,560 looking for the
Ace of diamonds.
Ace of Diamonds. 0270. Going once. We'll hustle on up there. And the hitter on deck. 0283. 0283. Brett said, oh my. 0283.
Oh.
That's something to remember. If you buy enough of those tickets, you're probably gonna get 2 shots at it.
You bought a lot. We're gonna do next one.
Sure, okay,
Next one.
all right. Well, thank you, Bruce. And the folks are Star Purchasing that sponsored the lunches for this month. Now, June 6th, we're having the Rotary Foundation celebration. That's Saturday, and you need to go if you can. It's going to be a nice celebration. We're going to have a hybrid event. So all the clubs in the district will be on a Zoom hybrid event at Roosters. We'll be at Roosters with 5 other clubs. And so we'll be represented there. They're going to kind of run down the scorecard of the clubs and what their giving is for the foundation. So if you're going to do that, make sure that you give. And if you give like today or tomorrow, then tell Lyle or Kim what you've done, because it may not show up on the record. We want to be able to report it. Now, next week, we need to pack the house, because who's coming? Coach Will Stein's going to be here. So we need to be here, and you need to bring a guest. It's a wonderful opportunity to invite someone to a Rotary Club meeting. So we're going to be here, and the UK football coach is going to talk to us. And this is going to be wonderful because it's brand new system, brand new coach, brand new ideas. So it should be a really fun time to be here. So bring a guest or two. Back the house, right. I think I said that. Anyway, social. We're having a social at Gatton Park on June the 11th. And Blue Door Smokehouse is going to have the main meal there. And we're supposed to bring a side to share and enjoy the downtown park. That's from 5:30 to 7:30. And see Susan Adams, if you can go to that, and work on the tickets for that from her. What's that?
Scan the QR.
And scan the QR code on your table sign there, and you'll be able to know all about the whole thing. Now, this past Saturday, how many went to the dance? How many went to that dance? Hey! Was that a dance? Was that a show? It was. It was a show. And very successful. And Brett and Kim, Brett's here. I don't know if Kim's out here with me, but phenomenal leadership on this event for so many years. And it's a fantastic event, and it's become just like a cornerstone in the events in the city. Everybody knows about it. It's on TV, it's on social media, it's everywhere. And you'll be seeing that as we go along. But it was fantastic. And thank you very much for a great time. Had a wonderful time. I'd like now to have Paul come up, and we're going to recognize a fire fellow.
Thank you, Dean. It's been my honor over the last 3 or 4 weeks to give Paul Harris Fellow awards and recognition to those people who support the Rotary Foundation that does good throughout the world. And today we want to recognize another new Paul Harris Fellow for the first time, and that's Alicia Chaffin.
Thank you, sir.
Alicia is a first-time Paul Harris Fellow, so she gets a certificate that has her name on it, Paul Harris Fellow. So congratulations. And we also have a pin for her,
Oh, I love it.
and there is your pin.
Yay!
One last thing, be sure to remember, if you will, on page 4 of the Wheel Horse today is a little explanation on our matching program. We'd like to see you all be Paul Harris Fellows in the future. Thank you.
Paul.
Oh.
Stealing my props. Now, I'm pleased to introduce our newest Rotarian. If Keith Key would come on up. If Keith Key would quit talking to Larry Calgo, Larry Calgo's probably talking to Keith Key. No, come on up, Keith. No. He's far beyond the yearling stage, let me tell you. Keith, as far as anything goes, he's my great friend. And we've known each other for a good while. And having him slide on over here to this club is a wonderful asset, trust me. Just think about these things. As far as Rotary things go, he's a past district governor. A couple of governors before me. He is a Paul Harris Fellow, of course, a major donor and everything to do with the foundation. He's been foundation chair and be foundation chair for us for next year. And we are working on many things, but he's one of the only pieces, I think he's the only one in the district, who's a legacy member. That means he has a foundation in the foundation. And so those are things to get recognition for, believe me. So Paul Harris Fellow and major donor. He's been the president of the After Hours Club 2 or 3 times now.
It's mulligan.
You gave him a mulligan, right? Yeah. He's been with Merrill Lynch for 23 years. And so he knows all about that. He also has a master's in divinity. He's been a minister, and that was before his career now with Merrill. But he also had preached in the advanced team with the Greater Moscow Crusade for Billy Graham. So talk about minister being somewhere, that's it. He's married to Mana, and they live out here off Harrisburg Road, and they have a very famous dog, Weller. So I want you to welcome Keith Key as one of our members. And now I think Jenny Schnurr is going to come up and fill us in on our big show for the day.
We got a show for you, as that's what I've heard, right?
That's it.
Well, I am stepping in and filling in some big shoes for Crystal Newton today, who has really wanted to be here and introduce these particular speakers, but you're stuck with me instead, sorry. So today's topic is about public safety, which works best when the police and communities trust each other. And so today we have both someone from the police and somebody from the community, and we're going to be talking about public safety. One of the most powerful tools in this relationship is something that is deceptively simple, the anonymous tip. Bluegrass Crime Stoppers exists to bridge the gap between what people know and what they are willing to say by removing two of the biggest barriers to speaking up, fear and apathy. Bluegrass Crime Stoppers, which I'm having an incredibly hard time saying today, it takes away two of the biggest big barriers. There's no caller ID, there's no recorded calls. It's just completely anonymous and could lead to a little bit of a reward for reporting something you know. So today we are going to have Chief Lawrence Weathers, who is no stranger to this club. He has been here before. He is a Lexington native. He joined the Lexington Police Department in 1989 as a patrol officer. Worked his way up through just about every department, I think, before being sworn in as chief in March of 2018. He holds a master's in criminal justice from EKU and a business degree from UK. He leads a department of more than 600 sworn officers and is deeply committed to community education on drug and violence prevention. Welcome back. And then we also have David Ashford, who is the head of Bluegrass Crime Stoppers. He has a resume that reads like a checklist of every job you would want standing between you and danger. 10 years as a U.S. Marine military policeman and weapons instructor. Then in the Beaufort Police Department, Fayette County Sheriff's Office, and Lexington Division of Police, where he retired as sergeant in 2012 after developing the department's active shooter response curriculum and training over 1,000 officers. He now leads Integrated Security Solutions, a woman and veteran-owned firm supporting 30,000 plus locations nationwide. Did I get that right? That sounds like a lot. And chair of the Bluegrass Crime Stoppers. So David, Chief Weathers, I invite you up. I don't know if you have an order, but I'm going to let you come on up and speak to the club.
Well, thank you all very much for having me today and taking the time to hear about this. Just a quick question. How many of you all are aware of Crime Stoppers? How many people have awareness of it? That's fantastic. Because in some of the groups I speak with, they don't have an awareness of it. And as a board, it's our mission to create better awareness, to understand how this organization functions, what you can do, what it has done, and then how we can improve it to work for us and making a safer community. Crime Stoppers, it really stands on 3 pillars. And just like Jenny mentioned, it eliminates this component where some people are afraid to speak up. People are still the best temperature of what's going on in the community. But there's also a struggle. There's people who are afraid to speak up because they don't want to be involved. They don't want my name brought up. I'm afraid there's going to be retaliation. And Crime Stoppers meets that with a solution. And that solution is providing a confidential pathway to give people in the community a way to share information with the police. A quick history about Crime Stoppers. You know, this organization is actually it's been around a long time. It was a brainchild of a detective from 1976 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There was a homicide of a 20-year-old college student, and the detective was very frustrated with the lack of tips that were coming in and the other unsolved cases in his jurisdiction. And he said, you know what, I've got a friend with the media and I've got some other friends in the community that will help us get some money together. Let's do a reenactment of this crime and put it on the news and see if we get anything back from it. And they did. 72 hours later, they had 3 arrests. And that program, that initiative is what launched Crime Stoppers into the concept. Now Crime Stoppers is a global organization with more than 15,000 Crime Stoppers in the United States and globally. And so it is a large network all committed to the same function. We are all just here to basically support the community by being that confidential pathway and giving law enforcement the tips that they need to be able to react to crime. Nationally, Crime Stoppers has accomplished over 1 million arrests, over 1.5 million cases have been cleared, over 135 million in rewards paid out, which is a lot. And then 2.5 million in property recovered and over 4 billion in illegal cash and drugs taken out of our community. So it's a mechanism that works, but it works by the community engaging and the media engaging. And when we say media, now we also have to say social media. Bluegrass Crime Stoppers started in 1994, and there's actually legislation in Kentucky that actually helps protect tipsters so that if they provide a tip, their identity cannot be revealed. And that's always a question I get when we go and talk to people about the program. They say, well, how do we know that the tipster's information is not going to be revealed? We use a system called P3 and it encrypts everything. So we couldn't get it even if we wanted to. We were actually ordered to go to Indiana a couple of years ago to a court that said, you're going to come and you're going to tell us who the tipster is. And said, well, we're happy to come, sir, but we don't know who the tipster is. All we have is an ID number, and that ID number doesn't tell us anything. So everything is behind a wall, and that's done for the security of the tipster and this assurance that they won't be revealed. Our mission is just to make an impact in the community by being that confidential conduit. And it works on raising money to be able to pay the tips and then pay those tips out. One of the gauges you can understand if your program is working well is the percentage of tips that are picked up. And so I'm going to show you some information here in just a second. And these are all images of things that have been taken out of our communities in about the last 4 or 5 years. This is an example of all the agencies that we've worked with in the last 4 or 5 years to solve crimes. And there's a lot. You can see on there everything from state police to FBI, every small county, city jurisdiction, they're everywhere. We just had a tipster that called in a tip on a wanted person, and the tipster was actually in Texas. And so the tipster made the call. The tip moved to the Lexington police. Lexington police went to the location, was able to locate him, confirmed the warrant, made the arrest. And then our Crime Stoppers organization sent the tip money to the Crime Stoppers in Texas, and then they paid the tipster. And so those kinds of things happen all the time. And that's how the program works. Believe it or not, the tipsters talk to each other and they'll say, hey, yeah, if you do this, then they'll pay you for it. So some of the statistics that we've achieved in the last 4 or 5 years, just here in our community, just in Bluegrass, we've received over 6,400 tips and we've made over 300 arrests. Out of those arrests, that yielded 570 felony charges and 254 misdemeanor charges. And out of those arrests, 20 of them were homicides. And so this is a really big deal. When I first got on the Lexington Police Department back in 1995, it was an average to have maybe 8 or 12 homicides a year. That was kind of a norm. And then over time, we've seen that kind of get higher and higher. And we had a very high clearance rate back in that time frame in the 90s. But over time, that's become more and more of a challenge. As the community grows, we have more and more people coming into the community. It gets to be more and more of a challenge. And we know that the police department is doing everything they can, but they cannot do it by themselves. They've got to have help from the community. And this is a way for us to support our police agencies and our community by being your facilitator and help make the program grow and work, or sharing the word about it. Because a lot of people know things, they don't know where to go. They don't know where to turn to share the information. And that's part of our job as a board, is to make sure people understand that. Couple examples of some of the crimes that we've solved. I've just got a handful because I would have a 212 slide deck if I had all of them on here. So this is just a couple of quick ones that I'm showing you. This was a guy that was most wanted, and he's been on the run 5 different counties. It took forever to catch him, but we finally caught him. But it's a little bit of everything, right? So we have a little bit of everything that comes in. So it can be everything. We've had everything from homicide complaints to animal abuse, theft, breaking, entering in vehicles, which that's been a big problem lately as well. You all know guns being stolen out of cars. This has been a big issue in Lexington in the last few years. So it works. The system works, and we've had great success with the program. I'm going to show you a few pictures now, and these pictures are examples of the things that have come off of our streets that are no longer on our streets because of the work and the cooperation between the community and Crime Stoppers and the police department. Over 50 pounds of marijuana. And these are all NOLA numbers. I promise you, these numbers are higher than they were when we built these stats. You can see the example there for yourself. These are a lot of things that have come off our streets. And these are some of the pictures of the guns and the drugs that have been taken off our street because people shared a tip with Crime Stoppers, and the officers reacted to it, and they were able to get that off the street. So it's very, very important work that the board is doing and that the community's involved in. And this is just a few examples of it. There's a picture here. I'm going to go back to the first one. If you look at the one that's in the center, right in the middle with the AR, if you notice in the corner of that, you'll see a Louisville police car. You see that? So that's the tipster actually called our Crime Stoppers from Louisville to make the tip because they weren't sure if their Crime Stoppers was going to be able to get the word out. So we reacted to it, and the detective in that case says, we got there just before this person took action. We believe we stopped an active shooter. And so that's how quickly these things can go wrong. But that's also an example of how quickly this program works, because when that tip comes in, those officers are getting it and they move that tip right along. And then that turns into an action on the street. And then hopefully we do things that are good and keep us all safer. This is one of them, a very large one from a couple of years ago. These are all things that have been taken off of our streets, and we're thankful for the work that's been done to do that. Just in our Crime Stoppers, we've paid out over $115,000 in tips. So on average, we pay out about $30,000 or $33,000 a year in tips to tipsters. And so it's a confidential process. They don't share that. And so the detective will have anonymous connection with them over either phone or email, or however they're doing it. And then the tipster's given information on how to go pick up their tip, and then they go do it. And so we try to protect the identity all the way through. We also have to work in the community. So we attend different events. We actually have a couple different events that we sponsor every year. One of them, I think it's Kathy in here. Kathy's one of our other Crime Stoppers board members. And John's in here as well. John's been a Crime Stoppers board member for a long time. And so getting out in the community and raising awareness. We were just at an event last weekend, and we had all kinds of people that came up to the booth and said, I never heard of you guys. I didn't know about you. So that's our job as a board, is to try to do a better job of making sure people know what we do and how we do it. Some of the ways you can support us is, number one is just simply donate to us. There's ways to donate on our website. And we've got board member openings right now. We've actually got 8 member openings on our board. We host a golf scramble, which I understand the gentleman here was just a little minutes ago. He participated in the golf scramble last week, so I appreciate that. We've got a shootout coming up. We're actually one of the only Crime Stoppers in the United States that does a shooting event as a fundraiser. And we went to the national conference. They said, the other Crime Stoppers organizations came up and said, how do you all do that? And so we were kind of explaining to them how our process worked. And so they're trying to replicate it. But to this point, ours has been going for 25 years. That's how long we had that program in place. So it's really been great. But following us on social media, and then engaging with companies, corporations that would be willing to partner with us to help us accomplish the mission of the board, which is strictly raise money so that we can pay out tips, and everything we do goes back into the program. We don't have any paid board members. Everybody are all volunteers. And then the last thing you can do is, if anybody shop at Kroger, does anybody shop at Kroger? So if you shop at Kroger, all you have to do is really easy. You just go down to community rewards. And if you don't have anybody selected and you're not using that for anything, you just go to community rewards, and then you can pick us on there. And then every quarter, it's not a lot, but every little bit helps. So that's a very easy way to support the board and support the mission. So I've said a whole lot. Chief, would you like to add anything to do that?
Hello, everybody. I'm Lawrence Weathers, Chief of Police, and I don't have much to add, but I will say this, early in our career, we were just police babies. Crime Stoppers was here, we supported Crime Stoppers a great bit. So, and I have to say this too, it works on the confidentiality side, because if it didn't, people wouldn't call in for stuff, and we understand, sometimes the people we work with, sometimes people call in, are involved in criminal activity as well. And it's not unusual for us to go do a search warrant at somebody's house, and on the refrigerator, they have the Crime Stoppers. But you know, and I'll give a shameless plug, they have to have the donations to continue that, so, we would appreciate that. It's become so important to us that Crime Stoppers is assigned to my office. Yeah, Crime Stoppers is assigned to my office, and we dedicate a person to liaison with them and work. And we are connected, not just to every law enforcement entity in the city, but our federal law enforcement people as well. So thank you.
This is our webpage, very easy to go there and connect with us if you'd like to do that. That's our webpage. And now we've got time for questions. Does anybody have any questions about the program? Yes, ma'am.
What do you do with all that cash?
So the money that you saw on the tables, yeah, so that falls under some very strict federal, there's asset forfeiture laws and rules that have to be followed, and that doesn't go back to the program. That has to be administered and handled in a different way. So that would be great if that could be considered, but it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, it could.
Determine how much of the board is given for it.
So the board has a matrix that they follow based on the crime that's committed, and then there's things in there that can accelerate that or increase the tip, such as recovery of a stolen gun or a violent crime. So those things are paid out at a higher reward. We ran a homicide initiative last year. The board chose to put an extra $10,000 towards homicide tips, so we're going to pay $2,500 for every homicide tip, and we went through it like that. And so the response was fantastic. We partnered with the ATF because they were going to match us. So if we got an illegal gun or a stolen gun, then they were going to match us on the tip payout for that. And so that one's been a little bit slow since the change of administration. That one's been a little bit slow, but we're always looking for those kinds of partnerships so that we can, the bottom line is these tipsters take a risk when they share information. So to entice them to share information, it's got to be worth it to them. And so if we can make the tip a little bit more or a lot more, then the likelihood that somebody's going to step forward and share the information, it gets even better. An example in Florida, in Miami, Florida, homicide tip, $10,000, just like that. $10,000 for a tip on a homicide. And so that makes the bad guys look over their shoulder. It interrupts their work chart and keeps them guessing as to who can I trust. And what we're really trying to do is just make it uncomfortable to do business here. We want them to go someplace else and do business.
Two things. One, if it's anonymous, how do you determine how do they receive their award? And number two, really for Chief Weathers, is there any crime trends that you're particularly concerned about? We've seen teen takeovers and things like that. We see that in our area.
Yeah, so the first question, we keep the tipster anonymous because things change every month, and I won't go into the exact details of it, but the tipster is given a special number, and then that corresponds with a different code that changes. And so they don't know both pieces of information unless they're a natural tipster. So somebody showing up to recover the tip would have to know both pieces of information, and that changes all the time. And so that's just a process that we use to keep there, but it's not, everything else is behind a wall. Yeah.
As far as the teen takeovers, we're monitoring the news that we receive from that. We haven't had any here, but we realize it could happen here. And we even gone so far as to look at what areas would be most likely and then developing plans on how to address it. So we're keeping that in mind. I hope we don't see it here. The laws relating to juveniles and arrest are different than adults. And some might call it lenient, but you know, I understand it and I get it. But we do have to send a message when things like that happen. And of course, we're looking at the drag racing thing too. They're trying to determine what city ordinance they could have to work in conjunction with that. So we are looking at that, but we haven't seen it hit here yet, but we know it could happen and we're trying to plan for it. Well, they come and usually you'll see them take off and block out a portion of some street or something like that. And they'll either do donuts and stuff, driving their cars and all that kind of stuff. And then sometimes you'll see a little bit of drag racing, or you'll just see them party. They'll just come in. So when the police come in, they throw things at them and yell at them and things like that, and try to intimidate it. And it takes up a lot of resources to get rid of one. But we're, like I say, we're looking at some of the things that they're doing in some other cities to kind of discourage it. We're trying to get those in place before it gets a foothold here. And you know, it's summer, so we may see some of that, but we're gonna try to deal with it as effectively as we can. The trend that's affecting us mostly right now is larceny from autos or people that go into vehicles and steal stuff. Our crime stats jumped up a little bit because of that, because the laws and how we account for that changed. Now we have to include attempts as part of that. So even if somebody just rummages through your car but doesn't take anything, we have to consider that as a theft. We're seeing that, and you know, we've been telling people don't leave firearms in your cars, and keep harping on that. They're still doing it, and you see some of those firearms show up in crimes here, but in crimes in surrounding counties as well. So get the word out. There's no reason to keep a gun in your vehicle. And I think one of the things that people are doing is, well, if I go to work or go shopping, I'm gonna take my gun with me just in case. And when they go in, they leave the gun in the car. And thieves are aware of that, and they look for that opportunity. We've actually got some of them on video. All they do is check to see if the door's locked. If it's not locked, they go in. They go straight for the glove box, under the seat, center console, and just looking for firearms. They even bypass purses and stuff, because that's what they're looking for. Not to say that they may not take your purse or take your wallet or your credit card. Don't leave valuables in your vehicle at all. Again, that includes computers and cell phones.
Any other questions about the program or any other questions, ma'am?
How popular is Crime Stoppers at UK campus?
That's a good question. We've not been on campus and done any presentations to them. I know University of Kentucky Police have got a tip reporting program for their students as well. We worked on doing something with Fayette County Schools a couple of years ago, and we're still working on strengthening that. But that's another area where we could definitely make some inroads. Yeah.
What's the shooting event? Sporting clays or something else?
No, the shooting event. So the shooting event is coming up on August 22nd. It'll be down at the Lexington Police Range. The cost to participate is $50 per person, or a 3-person team is $150. And what you're doing is you're shooting the same sidearm that the Lexington Police carry. It's a Glock 17, 9mm. We provide all the guns, we provide all the ammunition. You don't have to do anything except sew up and shoot. We have shooters that are from every skill level, from brand new, never shot a gun before, all the way up to very competitive people who get very serious about it. But we give away a lot of rewards. We've got a free breakfast that is always supported by Chick-fil-A. We've got a lunch, and it really is a good time. Some companies will bring groups and teams of people out, and they'll compete with each other. They'll have some of their own little side prizes that they'll do. But we've had a lot of good success with that. It's very easy. It's an easy event to do. It's the 7-yard line, five rounds. the 15-yard line, 5 rounds, and 25-yard lines, 5 rounds. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 5, 10, and 10. 5, 10, 10, 25 total shots. And it's coming up. So there'll be some information on our website, and we can share the flyer on email when we get it. So if you know anybody'd like to come, we have room for up to 120 shooters. Yeah, yeah. You coming? Okay, good. Awesome. Yes.
So are you a 501c3?
We are. Yes, we're a 501c3. Yeah, we're a nonprofit.
Is the shooter thing broken out by age groups or something like that?
Good question. Yeah, so it has really evolved over the years. So we have a law enforcement category, we have a retired category. We also have women, we have senior, then there are more awards in the individuals than the team, but then you have high senior, high women's, and there's one other category. We're trying to get some of the agencies that all support us. We've got 3 counties that work with Bluegrass right now, obviously Lexington being the anchor point, and then Jessamine County and Scott County. So we're gonna try to get a little friendly competition going between those agencies and see if they can show up and who can outshoot each other if they're not scared.
No children, no young people.
No, the age limit right now is 21. And so that's the way it's been. There's been discussion about asking and see if it's possible to go to 18. I think there's probably some requirements that we keep it at 21, but that's one of the questions we've had. Yeah.
Chief, our city compared to other cities similar size in different crimes.
We're the best city.
So the chief is he's not gonna tell you this, but I'm gonna tell you this because working with Chief Weathers and being a police officer for the majority of my life, I will tell you that Lexington Police Department is one of the best police departments in the United States. How many of y'all know what CALEA is? Anybody know what CALEA is? CALEA is a national accreditation for law enforcement agencies. This is an entity that a police department would invite in to look at them, and they are all focused on best practices nationally. I believe Lexington became first CALEA certified in 94. And to go through that process, the CALEA assessors come in, and the first place they go to is to internal affairs, and they start looking at your records. How do you handle things? Then they go to your training unit and they look at how you handle things. And then they go out and hang around with your officers. They'll show up at a roll call and they'll ride along with an officer. You don't get to pick. They just say, I'm riding with you. And then they ride with you during the shift because I had one ride with me. And they ask me all kinds of questions. If you pass that, they will accredit you for a couple of years. You have to go through reaccreditation every couple of years. If you're doing things really well, you can become what's called a flagship agency, which a flagship agency is when you're doing things that are so well aligned with that national accreditation that if other agencies in the United States are trying to become CALEA certified, I think Phoenix, Arizona was one at one time that came and they spent a week with us to say, how do you do that? You want to learn how to do it? Go hang out with Lexington Police and let them show you how they do the day in, day out work of law enforcement. Lexington Police were the first agency in the United States to get 3 consecutive flagship ratings in the United States. And they're still a flagship agency today. So the level of professionalism and the investment that the community and the government has put into giving you one of the best trained police agencies in the United States, I'm telling you, you're in it. You benefit from it every day. They don't pat themselves on the back and wave their hand about it very much. So that's why I'm taking this chance to do it for them.
Well, I'll say something real quick, because I do need to answer your question. It's very difficult to measure cities together because they all have different kinds of variables going on. But we work with Commerce Lexington and they visit sister cities, which are cities quite similar to Lexington. And if there's something going on there, I try to go every time they go. And if there's something going on there and I look at the law enforcement, I'll visit with the chief and see what's going on there. But Lexington is one of the best run cities in the country. We typically fall somewhere in the category, either top 10, top 20, top 30, something like that. But reality is that that's community involvement that changes all of that. And that's what we harp on. If we don't have that community involvement, then things can get out of whack.
Chief Weathers and David, he's really, we've got a token of our appreciation for you, a couple of Bill Strauss lithographs here.
Thank you very much.
Sir, I wanna just add a couple of things here. I've been to both police academies here and the FBI Academy, and these guys got it going. Everything about the police force here is fantastic. You know that because you can walk out here on the street at midnight and not feel scared. I mean, that's just how it is. If you call them, they will be there. And we work with some folks that end up getting called on many times in some of our pet projects, and they're there all the time, no matter what it is. And we are very fortunate to have this police force and all the people that work with them. So one more hand for our police force. Don't forget to wear your UK regalia next week, and we'll see the coach and see you at the TRF event if you can go. And we are adjourned.